भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने
नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन् इति नामिने।
नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी वशतारिणे।
नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे।
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय श्री जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
हरिनाम संकीर्तन की
जय।
गौर प्रेमानंदी।
हरि हरि बोल। While waiting on Dhruti. Hare Krishna, Krishna. Oh, you're going to sing? Okay. All right. Could you sit there? That it come in the camera.
Vrindavana Ramyasthana Divya Chintamani Dhama Ratana Mandira Manohara. Vrindavana Ramyasthana Divya Chintamani Dhama Ratana Mandira Manohara. Avrita Kalindi Dire Raja Hamsa Kili Kore Kahe Shobe Kanakam Kamala. Avrita Kalindi Nire Raja Hamsa Kili Kore Kahe Shobhe Kanak Kamala. Vrindavana Ramyasthana Divya Chintamani Dhama Ratana Mandira Manohara. Vrindavana Ramyasthana Divya Chintamani Dhama Ratana Mandira Manohara. Taramadya Hemapita Ashtadale Veshtita Ashtadale Pradhanam Naika. Taramadya Hemapita Ashtadale Veshtita Ashtadale Pradhananaika. Taramadye Ratnasane Kosiyache Dui Jane Shyama Sanga Sundarira Ika. Taramadye Ratnasane Bashiyache Dui Jane Shyama Sange Sundari Radhika. Vrindavana Ramyasthana Divya Chintamani Dhama Ratana Mandira Manohara. Vrindavana Ramyasthana Divya Chintamani Dhama Ratana Mandira Manohara. Orupala Vanyarasi Amiyache Puri Kasi Hasya Pari Hasya Sambasane. Orupala Vanyarashi Amiya Pariche Khasi
हास्य परिहास संभाषणे
नरोत्तम दास कोई नित्य लीला सुखमोय सदाई स्फुरुक मोर माने
नरोत्तम दासा कोई नित्य लीला सुखमोय सदाई स्फुरुक मोर माने
वृंदावन रम्यस्थान दिव्य चिंतामणि धाम रतन मंदिर मनोहर
वृंदावन रम्यस्थान दिव्य चिंतामणि धाम रतन मंदिर मनोहर
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम
हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय प्रभुपाद
जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय
प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा
गौर हरि बोल
हरि बोल
हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल
निताई गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल निताई गौर हरि बोल निताई गौर हरि बोल
Hare Krishna tune, Bala. Any tune.
It's been so long. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Brother say. You want to put the garment? Yeah, thank you. Thanks. You need the extension. Anyway, once the power thing. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giriva गिरिवरधारी
जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी
जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी
जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी
यशोदनंदन ब्रज जनरांजन
यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन
यशोदनंदन ब्रज जनरांजन
यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन
यमुना तीरावनचारी
यमुना तीरावनचारी
यमुना तीरावनचारी
यमुना तीरावनचारी
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी
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 जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी
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 यशोदनंदन ब्रज जनरांजन
यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन
यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरांजन
यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन
यमुना तीरावनचारी
यमुना तीरावनचारी
यमुना तीरावनचारी
यमुना तीरावनचारी
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Gaura Premanandi, Jayam Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Svatara Shishi Mary's Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasavadala Shivajit Namo Krishna Daswante Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasavadala Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschata Desatarine. Hare Krishna. Thank you for coming to this evening's continuation of yesterday's discussion on conflict and resolution. I'm still having my cold, or it seems like a cold. Maybe I have to consult the doctor. So yeah, we looked at the criteria of causes of conflict. We were going to discuss 7 of them, but we only covered, I believe, 4 of them, right? Or 3. I was testing your, because I have it here 4. So the first 3, let me see. First one was pride. Conflict arises due to pride. The second one is maturity, both spiritual and emotional maturity. The third one was change and not being flexible or inflexibility. Okay, So the fourth one that we will continue today is abuses of power, abusing one's position, power. There's always some power play. So generally, what is power? When we say you have power or someone has power, meaning they have some form or ability or an influence over others. It could be a very great power, or it could be just, it could be a small person, but if you are at the gate letting people in, you have a big power. Yeah, you won't let anyone come in. So abusing one's power, and that also creates a lot of conflict. One can say, every time I'm coming to your home, your gatekeeper don't let me in. And then you talk to your gatekeeper, he says, I'm letting everyone in. So it's an abuse of power. So you have an influence over your environment, and you use it for your advantage, or you use it to gain advantage also, or gain dominance over another person. But at the same time, each of us may have power today, but tomorrow we may lose the power, right? You can have power, just like in the political situation in any country. There's a cycle where people get elected. So every few years, the person who's in power may lose the power. Unless you're in some country where you can give bribe and stay in power forever, right? Like in some places, like in China, the government or the premier, he has changed the law so that he will be in power until he dies. Generally, people want to hold on to power thinking that they will not die. Right? It's pretty common, even among yourselves. You're not sitting there thinking you will die tomorrow. Right? It's pretty obvious. We don't think like that. Yeah. Now, there's a conflict expert, Dudley Weeks. He writes, people choose how they use power and whether they allow it to be corrupt. How they use the power, or whether they allow it to be corrupt. We can use power negatively or positively. The severely damaging seesaw power approach creates the illusion that you are more powerful when you make the other party less powerful. Right? So even among devotees, you want to exact some dominance. Right? Especially I've noticed when I've been to India and so on, so I notice in the streets the dogs will come, and then you can see they are checking each other out, and then they'll bark, and one dog will be the dominant one. And he has exerted his rule. He's the king of that street until the next strong dog comes. But because we understand that this dynamics will always be working or changing, we have to be very careful. So as devotees, we have to have a healthy view of our power. Okay? Just like if you are serving prasadam, so there's rice, dal, sabji, and then let's say you have loki sabji and then the other one is paneer sabji. The guy taking paneer sabji will think he has more power. Right? And the guy who's then serving samosa will think he's even more, because he'll think, I won't want to give this person because I don't like this person. So one has to have a very healthy view of the power so that you will prevent conflict, right? I've given this example of where the devotees serving prasadam, and then the last few pakoras, who wants? Right? Many devotees will put up hand, but they only have a limited resource and they give to a few and the others will feel, this guy don't like me. Yeah. It's already a conflict. Yeah. What is the alternative, right? What would you do in that situation? Life, eternal enemy for the rest of your life? Or how are you going to resolve that? The Pakora dilemma. Huh? What is it? Oh, then that's not Vaishnava. The alternative way, or an alternative that can work, is that if you say you have 3 pakoras and there's 6 person, you divide it in 6. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And then everyone can feel confident that, okay, he recognized me. Yeah. She recognized me. Yeah. Yeah. But if you refuse, and if you make statements like, oh, pakoras cannot be broken in half, it lose its value, It won't be so tasty, it won't be enough to fill your mouth. And if you start engaging those kind of discussion, then it's not really healthy. Basically, you are using your position to control the other person or personalities there. Yeah. Rather, in Krishna consciousness, power means to be able to serve. I'm given this position, which means, therefore, I have greater capacity to actually serve the other devotees. Why? Because constitutionally, Jivera Swarupoi Krishnera Nityadas, our position is always a servant. We cannot change that. You cannot take liquidity away from water. You cannot take heat away from fire. You cannot. Then it's no more fire. Or light from fire. You can't do that. So therefore, we should be very aware of how to serve devotees. Generally, as persons or personalities with position and power, when we are serving, first we have to understand we are serving. So rather than controlling someone, we should see what's their disadvantage. What do they actually need? So we look out for those who are disadvantaged. Right? Let's say someone comes late and then they sat in the row for prasadam, then you should focus on their needs rather than someone who's already been eating 10 times, Right? Then you can say, yes, Prabhu, but there's someone new, first time, I'm going to give them the pakoras for them. Yeah. Huh? Better to roll it? It depends on your health. Yeah. If you go late and there's no prasadam, then you'll complain the management didn't cook enough. Yeah. Right? You'll say we are giving so much donation and I just came half an hour late and they didn't even think about me. Yeah. This is very common nature of devotees. Yeah. Right. So we look out for when we see someone who's what's their disadvantage. So we try to see if we can help others. In terms of Vedic culture, if you have more, you should give to those who have less. So now everyone is thinking, I shouldn't have so much in my bank account. But actually that's what the Shastra says. If you have more, you can't keep hoarding it. Eventually the law of karma and everything will take everything away from you. You can store everything. One day either you lose it, the government will make a martial law and take all your wealth away, or you will die. And your sons and daughters will enjoy the fruits of your hard work, and they will waste it because there's so much. Yeah? And that's a reality. Most people cannot see that, but that's a reality. So we are not supposed to use power to cause hurt or abuse someone else. Okay? Right? Even in your own family dynamics or what, you should also understand if you're in a position of authority or power, you shouldn't use it to undermine the other party or your partner or your children and so on. So if you do that, if you abuse or hurt someone, whether it's your wife or husband, then it's tantamount to becoming aparad. Okay? So if you're not very careful, then you think I have the power because Krishna gave me the power, so I will wield my power the way I see. But there is what we call etiquette also in terms of how we relate to one another. And if you transgress this etiquette, then you have to pay the reactions for it. So if you contemplate like thinking, well, I'm the man, I have more power and I will abuse, then you are actually hurting your spiritual life. So in the same way, power and influence in the temple or in the congregation should be ultimately used or be directed for the pleasure of Krishna. So, or his servants, or his for his service. It should be like that. Right? So when you go to the temple, you have to see what service I have, what can I do. Not so much as what service I can avoid. Right? You go to temple and then it's a cat and mouse game, you know. Temple president walks this way, you walk that way. Right? Then that's not, you're not learning anything. Rather, you're actually becoming less efficient, less reliable, and less of a chance in going back to Godhead. Right? And if the temple president is seeing you avoid, then you are causing a conflict because they have a goal to achieve, and or they will approach and say, why are you doing this? And you will say, no, I'm too busy, or I have other things to do, and this may cause shifts in power struggle, you know. And then if there are audiences, then you'll say, you know, I'm always giving donation, and then now you're abusing me and things like that. Instead of doing that, devotees should be very clear what they can do and what they cannot do from the beginning, you know. This is all I can do. I can only come. If I can't come, I can't come, and things like that. Bearing in mind that if you don't do much service, and at the same time you don't even help in the movement or in the preaching process, you will not make any tangible advancement. Right? But so you should take a humble position in the back line, you know. Yeah. Right. So whatever we do, whatever power or influence we have, should be for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his followers. So that's basically what I want to talk about abusing one's power or position within the temple environment. You know. And anyway, what's so great about your position? You know, right? The position is, you should understand, it means you are empowered for service. That's all. Nothing else. If you're thinking, oh, now I've made it, my life is successful, I have power. Okay. All right, the next one, number 5, is ISKCON politics. Or you can say temple politics, you know. So in any temple, in our movement in ISKCON, you will see there will be factions, groups, right? Everyone will, you know, like in a big temple where there are like hundreds, you know, 700-800 people come, then you'll see one group all Gujus, then one group all Telanganas, and then another group all the Hindi Walas, and then what the hell, you know? You didn't come for that thing, you know. But also go back to your countries, you know. You form cliquish groups, but factions are common even in society proper. And they may intentionally or unintentionally engage in politics, right? Maybe you want to do something good, so you talk to 10 different devotees and say, this is a good idea, right? You agree with me? And your intention is not to demean or bring the other management down, but out of excitement or out of joy of wanting to share, you share with a few devotees and unintentionally engage in politicking. Yeah, they say political maneuvers or posturing, political posturing. And definitely when you do that, you're going to have conflicts. Yeah, because the management may have a different view or outlook or plans. But instead of going to them and discussing, you have gone to the congregation and formed a group of people who will tell the management, why are you doing this? So-and-so have a better idea. Why are you not following that idea? So inevitably, you're creating some problems. In general, we find that the older the person is, they may favor stability and no changes. And we find those who are younger devotees, they want to change everything. And in doing that, some people will try to accumulate or acquire power. You know, now I know how to do this, so they will give me that position. How to increase their power, and then they'll start recruiting people on their side. You know, this is how. Actually, this is how in most situation in the world is. Politics is like that. Yeah, or a person may be challenged to resolve the situation without offending the other individuals involved in the conflict. Yeah. Now, if for us, actually, we are following Prabhupada, we have to be very careful not to offend devotees, because there's a tendency that if we overdo it, then people get hurt too much, then they will split. In our own ISKCON history, or I shouldn't say ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada used to be with Gaudiya Math. That was how Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur set it up. But when he came to America to start preaching and developing, it appears, if you read the history, you'll see that there was no support from their organization, Gaudiya Math. And therefore, in his own pursuit of establishing a society in US, he found that there was a lot of undercurrents by his own god brothers, and so they were politicking, or they were pulling his own disciples and reinitiating and things like that. So he was very hurt, and so it's an extreme example. And so we should be very extremely cautious and think of in terms of what and integrity in the way we do things. And because of the Gaudiya Math themselves not following their founders' instruction, they collapsed. And part of their collapse was due to infighting, lots of conflict, lots of politicking, and so much so they lost wealth in terms of land. They had land all from their in Calcutta temple, from there all the way to the Ganges River. All that was their land. And because of their conflict between a few of them, it went to litigation. And when it went to litigation, you have to pay them. And so slowly they got rid of the land and so on. And finally, they have nothing much. So all the wealth, money, properties, farms, everything was lost like that. So when we are serving, we should not worry about the politics. If you have suggestions, just write a suggestion. In the undi box, you can put suggestion. If there's a suggestion box, you put a suggestion in the suggestion box, right? But make sure you put your name, right? Otherwise, why are you not wanting to declare who you are? Yeah, so that's the nature of politics and why we shouldn't indulge in politicking. There are people already in the management role, and so we should work with them. The whole idea is to work together to improve the situation, not work against them to degrade the situation. Okay? All right. And then the other ways conflict arises in our society is because there's unclear lines of authority. We do not know who is the guy behind it or who is in charge. Very unclear authorities. Someone will just go and tell, right? This we need to do, this we need to do. Generally, you go to a new temple or you have never visited, you have 10 different people coming to talking to you, which means maybe they don't have their welcome booth properly developed. Yeah. A temple that has more resources, they develop those welcome booths, so they assign a few devotees on rotational basis, that they will take care of newcomers. And others will know, okay, this is for newcomers, and they won't interfere. Anyone new, they'll say, please go and see in the welcome booth. If you don't have such demarcation or empowerment of devotees to take care of new people or management of resources properly in the temple, you're going to have problems always, right? Because you don't know, so then you think maybe I should do it. Or you don't know and you don't know how to do it, then you think the only person I know who's running around doing it is that guy, so I'll tell him. Generally, it is said that, if you want to get things done, you find the guy who's most busy. Then they will do it because they are responsible. Yeah. But if you give to a guy who's not doing anything and don't want to do, that's it. right? Yeah. So when the lines of authority within the temple environment is not clear, the volunteers and leaders sometimes exercise authority, although it may not be their responsibility because they don't know what to do. And so they take on those responsibilities. Yeah. And then the person in charge may get disturbed and say, who you think you are? You know, I am the one. You know, instead of saying, I'm sorry that, you had to do this, actually we have some responsibilities for different people. I'll show you. And you take it that way. Or if you don't have those responsibility organizational chart, then you are having a problem already. So you should clearly sit down together and do a proper organizational chart. Who's in charge of welcoming Buddha, who's in charge of the pujari, who's in charge of the Sunday feast cooking, daily cooking, right? Who's in charge of collecting the mails and answering, and so those systems must be there. Yeah. If you do not attend to that, then what happens is it may become worse in times of crisis. Okay? Just like in the Gaudiya Math, they had so much problem because there's no more authority. Yeah. So that is unclear authority. Yeah. And then the last one is personality differences. Everybody can relate to that. There may be a perceived differences or clear differences among the congregations and the way communication takes place, and therefore conflict rises. Yeah. We have to also know why certain people speak in a certain way, right? Sometimes, especially the older generation, I'm not sure about the new generation, when they use the phone, they have to shout on the phone because they're speaking to someone in India. So they'll raise their voice in front of everyone in the temple room, say, why are you shouting? The guy's in India. So maybe we have to remember why certain people act in certain way. And when we understand those things, we can prevent misunderstanding. We can say, okay, Prabhu, just use those rooms whenever your phone calls, Yeah, assign place, like that, yeah. Yeah, otherwise there may be false assumptions, right? Or you may not like someone, given the fact that devotee means should be very loving with everyone, still, depending on our inability to actually practice properly, we may have strong opinions. We may not have purified our own level of consciousness, and so we still on the bodily platform or caste platform or whatever, and so you treat people in a very bad way. So when you remember why some people act in certain fashion or speak in a certain way, then it will help us in preventing misunderstanding. Immediately, maybe it's a language problem, right? For example, most of the American devotees, they come and they talk to you all, they're like thinking, what are you all talking about? It's lost in translation, right? Half the time they're like, oh my God, I have to ask another devotee what he's saying, or what she is saying. Yeah. And because we come from different parts of the world, majority of you are from India. Even I have difficulty understanding some of you because I'm not from India. So the nuances of and your behavior is so different, yeah, so when we understand and when we remember this devotee is like this and this devotee, then it becomes easy to communicate and not misunderstand. And therefore, less chances of having conflict. Yeah, yeah. There's a system called, you can identify personality traits using who's dominant, who's a dominant person, who's an influential person, who is a steady person, and who is conscientious person. So you can identify, and the temple president can identify and give them color cards. So you do not know what the color card is, but but at least he will know, okay, this guy is like that. I mean, it's good for you to understand who's having very strong emotions and actions they like to do. So then I have to be very careful with this Mataji or Prabhu, because they are overpowering, when I talk and I cannot handle it. Yeah. So, yeah. Not that you avoid them, but certain topics cannot be discussed with this person. Or you identify someone, you talk to them, and then they have a tendency to give you a whole story for 1 hour, and you cannot get out of their embrace, right? That devotees like that, and you're wondering how to get out, So if you need to approach them, then you tell them, I have 10 minutes, I want to ask you something, because I have to go in 10 minutes. And then you keep looking at your watch when you discuss with them, and when 10 minutes, Prabhu, thank you, I have to go. So that way you're not trapped, right? Oftentimes you see some devotees talking to another devotee, and you feel so much compassion, and you cannot help them. Yeah, it's like this. But it's good to know personality differences. It helps you also how to react to them, how to engage them, how to become a better devotee with them. Yeah. Right? So this in itself is the 7 different criterias or causes of conflict in a temple environment. So what are the 7? First is pride, maturity, spiritual or emotional maturity, then change or inflexible, not able to change or not being inflexible. The 4th one is abuse of one's power or position, and 5th one is temple politics, and 6th, unclear lines of authority. You do not know who's actually in charge. Let's say somebody spill something in the temple room. Who do you look to, right? Or 10 people come with a mop. Then you're like, who's in charge? Yeah. So unclear authority. And the last one is personality differences. So it's good to cultivate those things for your own sake, so that you don't get into any serious conflicts, right? Yeah. All right. So although we have this, we can also understand how do you resolve conflicts. Let me see. Skills to develop, that will be valuable for you. Actually, in our ISKCON, they have what we call ISKCON Resolve. And they do conduct conflict resolution courses, maybe 2-3 times a year. If you do want to go, it's online, I think, and it's over maybe 3 to 4 weeks, depending on the time. If it's a full day course, then it's probably 2 sessions, otherwise 4 sessions over 2 weeks, usually on the weekends. So you could do that, and it's very handy. Maybe Satyasar can identify devotees who will be ideal for conflict resolution. Not every one of you. It's good for you to know, but not every one of you can be a person who can resolve. Yeah. Your nature may not lend you to resolve. You talk and then the person don't listen, you beat the bugger. You know, right? Some people cannot handle it. Why are you not listening what I'm saying? Boom. Instead of resolving, you have another conflict. Yeah. So therefore, it doesn't come easy for all of us. Some people naturally they can do that, and some people naturally default to a positive way of looking at things. Some people default to an unhealthy way of responding. Sometimes you may not intend to say in a negative way, but because of your culture, because of your upbringing, you will say it. And then you're like, I didn't mean to say it, but you said it. And that will cause pain and conflict again. So it's good to know skills. So generally when there's conflict, what are the modes that come in? Modes of passion, yeah. And definitely there must be ignorance. And in mode of passion, what is the quality that comes in the forefront? Anger, yeah. When you have anger, what happens? Your intelligence become spoiled. Actually, in the Shastra it says, when you become angry, your whole body is contaminated. Okay, so when your whole body is contaminated, your consciousness is contaminated, your intelligence is contaminated, you're not able to make good decisions. You cannot make proper choices. That's one thing. And then the other thing is, if you don't have the position or the power, and if the other person has the power, you feel, you feel victimized. What else you feel? Not envy, resentful, right? You feel very resentful. But if you know the skills in conflict resolution, generally you become much more calmer. Maybe I should shift a bit like that. Right? Yeah. So you tend to become much more calm. That's one thing. The other thing you develop is you will develop an attitude that doesn't appear to be defensive. Right? In our philosophy also, 4 things that you shouldn't be doing is, or normal with animals and human beings. Yeah, what is that? Eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So if you are not well trained, you'll fall back into these 4 things. So if someone is coming to you and you come out with your defense mechanism, you may be wrong, you may not understand the situation, but there's a tendency to defend your position. You'll say, no, this is... So what you learn in conflict resolution is you give up the defensive manner. Rather, you look at it in terms of objectives. What are we here to resolve? Yeah. So next time you're in conflict, then you can use some of these skills. Obviously, you need practice. It's not you hear one class like this, you become an expert. No, it's not like that. You need to do some exercises, and then you have to really deal with real life problems also. Although I have studied in this was like 15 years ago. Still, over the 15 years, although you can use those skills, actual resolution I had to do was on 2 occasions with another devotee. We followed everything to the, we become the mediators with 2 parties. So we follow all the rules properly. But if the 2 parties are unwilling to compromise or agree to whatever they sign off, it doesn't work. Yeah, mostly we find that when there's a inability to accept one's shortcomings or one's ego, you find that although they will agree, but actually they agree to disagree. Yeah. So the conflict is not resolved, but the conflict is managed. Yeah. In a sense that they don't disrupt the they don't disrupt the congregation. Yeah, they agree. They look at each other and they shoot arrows through their eyes. Yeah. So like that. So they agree to, we will act in that way. All right. So the first important skill, I think most of you should know this if you're in management or so on, is what we call active listening. Active listening skills. Yeah. What it means is you take time to listen. Sometimes your own children will come and tell you something, Papa, this, and you are actively you shut down, right? Because you think, I know my son or daughter, and so you don't listen to them. Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. Yeah. What does it mean? It means you give time to listen to the other party. Not just listen, you understand what they're saying. Listening means to understand, actually. Yeah. You hear, you process, and you understand what they're trying to say. Not just hear, oh, well, I heard you. That's not what we are talking about. No? You process. And then as you're listening, you stop judging them or stop thinking of solutions. First listen. Right? Mostly people will tell you, I was cooking this halwa, I put this. Immediately you say, okay, next time cook halwa this way. But they haven't finished what the problem was. Right? And then they say, no, you're not listening. So what do you mean? This is how you make halwa. No, you didn't understand. I made the halwa, but the rat fell into the halwa. Okay. Then you wasted like 10 minutes talking. Right. So sometimes you really have to listen. Or you listen and then you think, oh, it's not a big problem. And you dismiss them. But it's a big problem for the person who's coming to you. For you, it may not be a big problem, but it's a big problem for them, Right? They could come to Satya Sar and say, I said Haribol to that Prabhu and he didn't say Haribol. Satya Sar has got 10 different things. Okay, I'll talk to you later. But you feeling? Yeah, you feel ignored by the temple president, you feel ignored by the other person also. Then you're thinking the whole world hates me. It may seem funny, but nowadays people have a lot of mental health issue. So the next time they come, they'll bring a AK-145 or something. It's possible. The way the world is going, yeah. So every time, give class, you look and see who's coming in that door. This is USA, Texas, man. Right? Yeah, so active listening is to focus on what the person has to say, and you don't answer back. You remain quiet when they are speaking, and try to see how they are phrasing the language. It's the way they say it, right? Like, Papa, Papa, this is happening, Papa. It's or Papa, this is happening. That's different. So if you're not listening, then you do not know, right? What's important, and it's important for the child, and so you have to give attention. Or maybe an adult is also concerned, and so on. So if you genuinely listen to questions and concerns, and then it also shows the other party that you are a willing person who wants to help them, or someone who's very concerned for them also. And it naturally makes the other party develop confidence in the management, develop confidence in your style, confidence in the whole congregation itself. They all know, yes, this person will do something, because they listen nicely. That's one thing. The other thing is not only just listening, but you should have an open mind. Don't be judgmental. When you have an open mind, you can truly see where the other person is coming from, why they are feeling the way they are feeling. Yeah. So when they say something, the way active listening is, when they say something, you rephrase the say, Prabhu, I don't feel happy. Then you say, I understand you are not feeling happy. Am I right? So you are confirming that you have heard, and you are acknowledging that I understand you are feeling hurt. So that's active listening. And it's something you have to practice. You can't just get up tomorrow morning and say, I know it. Yeah, it doesn't work like that. And you find that because you're all conditioned to greater or lesser extent, you will fall back to your nature, and you behave in your own way, and which is not according to what is being taught in terms of how to resolve conflicts. Yeah? Now, if you don't understand what they're saying, then you say, I would like to know exactly what you mean. Can you repeat? I like to understand better. So that way they'll feel, okay, this person really wants to know. So that's very important. So you have to ask questions also. Is this what you meant? Did I understand this properly? Right? So you said this, this, and this. So have I got that correct? These three things is what you just said. And the reason you said these three things is because of this reason 1, 2, and 3. Am I right? Then they'll say, no, that's not what I meant. Then you go through the process again. So if you listen actively, then they'll feel that they are being cared for, and that you're taking an active role in wanting to resolve the issue. Okay. Now, after doing all that, you say, I can't help you. Yeah. Right? That will cause a lot of problems. You may not be able to help, but you may know someone in the management who can help. So you can say, thank you, I've got everything. I've written it down. I'm going to see what I can do. I'm going to talk to a higher authority. Yeah. So if you are actively listening, it's really very important, because it may be the reason why you can resolve the conflict if you listen carefully. Or it may be a reason why you have destroyed that person's desire to come to the temple. Yeah. So that's basically, there's more to active listening. I'm just giving you a brief understanding. The second most important thing is communication. Yeah. Communication is key in every relationship, right? Husband and wife, father and son and daughter, right? Boss, employee, CEO, company, leaders, management, communication. Everyone needs to have proper communication. So you have proper relationship. Whether it's in a professional setting or a personal setting, you need to be good in your communication. If you do not know how to communicate, the other person don't know what you're trying to say, right? And just like if I just say, okay, this is 10 things, these are 7 things, and if I don't give examples or go into details, then I'm not actually communicating what I want you to take away from today's class or seminar or whatever, right? So it's important how you are going to bridge that gap between that individual and yourself. Right? You have to bridge that. And so it's important. So mostly many of you who work in leadership roles, probably your companies sends you to communication courses and listening skills, and you still do the same thing. Right? Because nobody tests you and then you like, oh, I did my course, check. Now I should be promoted. Yeah. But it's not like that, if you don't communicate well, then the other party doesn't know how to understand you also. Or you communicate nicely, but the other person don't communicate properly. Then you're also in a dilemma. So then you bring in a third party who can... generally it happens in translation. Yeah. You need a via media who will translate. And sometimes if you know the language a little bit, you can also understand that the translator is making mistakes. Yeah. Or they misunderstand. Because it's not their native tongue sometimes, so they may misunderstand. So communication is very important. Yeah. The other thing that's important also, let's say you had an argument with someone, a very heavy argument, right? And then you become very disturbed and you are not willing to communicate because you feel hurt. You want to be closed, right? You feel embarrassed. You didn't like how it turned out in the argument. And the people who saw you in a different light is now, you feel that they are going to see you in a different way. So many things will come into your mind, and so you become closed off. But that won't help you resolve the conflict. Okay? So one of the things about communication is, okay, you went through that, difficult as it was, you should be very open-minded and willing to say, yes, I said this and I felt this way and so on. So that's communication, opening up, yeah? Because otherwise you can't heal the relationship and you cannot nurture a positive relationship in the long run. It's not possible. So there must be some level of acceptance and being able to open up. Do you want to take a seat? Yeah. You have strong legs. Yeah. Right. So if you nurture the relationship in a positive way, it heals any relationship. And if you heal that relationship, then the conflict resolution becomes easier. Because the person won't have any strong feelings anymore. Yeah, they're like, yeah, maybe we made a mistake. If we both feel bad, we're not talking, okay, we are willing to make some discussion, yeah. So in conflict resolution, all parties must be open to discuss things, not hide things. There should be that. It's very important. They say line of communication must be open. Yeah, you have to have that open communication. Everyone should feel comfortable and to even speak their emotions and their thoughts, feelings, so that everyone can understand. Okay, that's what happened. I didn't know that my words, when I used it in this way, it hurt you so much. Yeah. Have you gone through those kind of scenarios in your life? Yeah. When you never expect the other party to take it in a negative way, or when you joke and they say you did it on purpose, you hurt me, I couldn't sleep for the last 24 days. Yeah. Yeah. Those things are very common. Sometimes we don't know. Yeah. Communication helps for the relationship to stay healthy also. If you have proper communication. Healthy, not short term, long term also. So therefore you need that. So in a temple environment, if you have such an open relationship, it encourages what the modern term is inclusion. Because it's not supposed to be. Nowadays you kind of inclusivity. Ooh, you all didn't hear what I said. Okay. But that's what you want, actually. So everyone feels part of that organization, you know. And it's healthy, yeah. And people shouldn't feel judged. They shouldn't be afraid to speak their mind about a dispute or argument, but in a proper setting, of course, you know. And if you have lines of communication, then it would not go out of context, you know. Right? And they will shout, fight. The next day, if two ladies fight, next day the two husbands are fighting. And then the whole family comes to fight. Right? When I was young, there was cartoons, you know, the Mac something versus another Mac something, right? But nowadays, I don't think you know that two families been fighting for the last 500 years, shooting at each other. And so a person asks, what are you all fighting about? They say, we don't know, but we just fight. So, yeah, so you need to have proper lines of communication. Yeah. All right, 7:45, so I will stop here. There's another, let me see. 1, 2, 3 more. We can do it tomorrow. Yeah. All right. Q&A. Anything you want to add and clarify? Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for the wonderful class. So you said, like if one example you were giving, if someone is talking a lot and first only you tell them, you know, I have 10 minutes, I'm going to talk. What if the other person feels bad? Like, how do you handle situations where, you know, you're like not part of the thing? Like, you're just like, okay, I'm only having 10 minutes with you.
No, this is a conversation initiated by you. So you approach them and say, Prabhu or Mataji, you know, I need to ask you a question, but I have only a limited time because I have to do other things also. But if they come and talk to you, then you have a few devotees call you and text you and say, 10 minutes is over. And then you look at your phone and say, I have meetings, you know, so-and-so wants to talk to me. Yeah. I mean, I'm giving you a humorous way of looking at it, but you can actually talk to that devotee and say, you know, I have to go, you know, I have other things to do. But sometimes that person may not be able to accept. You're worried about that, right? They may not be able to accept that they like to share their whole life story with you, and they've only been to the first 5 years, and there's another 40 years to go, and you're not willing to listen. And so you can say maybe we'll continue from where you left off. Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj.
It's not easy, but I think as you engage with devotees, different devotees, you will learn how to talk to different devotees. And they will understand, oh, they don't spend so much time, and it's okay. Instead of feeling nobody wants to talk. That's not the thing, you know. Because just like there are people who can talk forever, there are people who can listen forever also. So they will meet one day. Okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Very nice class, Maharaj. Thank you so much. My question is, if there is a conflict, we listen to A and B separately, individually. So when we listen to A, before listening to B, we should not come to any conclusion.
Yes.
But what I can give A, that, should I give the positive thing, anything about what I listen, or okay, I listen to you, I will talk to B, and then I will, is there a way?
There is a method how you do mediation. You have both parties it's usually in the same day. They come to a certain location which is neutral. Then you meet the party A and you discuss, and you go through whatever you've heard, and you say, these are the things that we discussed. Are you fine with that? And you show them what you have taken, and they look at it. They can make changes. And are you satisfied? Can I convey this to the others? Before I convey, I'll talk to them first. And then they'll say, okay. And then you talk to party B, and then same thing. And then after that, you get two verified, points by both parties. You give to these two parties. This is what they feel about you. And then you let them digest those things. And then rebuttal. Or agreement. Okay, I agree with this point, I disagree, I agree this. And then finally, mediation comes in, where you as the mediator look for compromise from both parties, where they will agree to sign off certain actions, certain deals, certain wealth sharing. Sometimes father gives 60% and 40%, they are not happy, they fight. So come to 45, 55, like that. Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj. Yeah. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So, couple of points I want to share, like one thing, unclear authority. So, back in initial days in my ISKCON journey, so we conducted one festival called Swadotsav. So where we call all bachelors, like not yet married and they're studying or going to job, we will invite them and feed them prasadam. Just kirtan, light kirtan and prasadam, that's it. Like it's a big event, like we called 500 RSVPs came. So then I given an assignment saying I need to take care of all chappal. Sandals.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. And I happened to see that one place, the dustbin is like plates, garbage got filled, trash can. I'm stepped in and no one is there, it is falling kind of thing. So I stepped in and did it. Then later I got the scoldings. Why you are there? Then I said, no one is there. Even though, why you have to go there? Then I felt very sad. After doing that service, I got, but now I understood unclear authority. So he is saying that you would have told to whoever or like someone, you shouldn't do it. So now I understand that is very stepping other service is cause conflicts. So and later I realized when they are going out, and they very much impressed the way organized. Chapel is very clear, like we put it in such a line. ISKCON is ISKCON. While they're going, the wonderful organizing. So when we have a clear authority, when we are what you call delivering properly each and everyone's duties without stepping and conflicting, so outers also gets the feel. So I thought of sharing this.
That's nice. Yeah, yeah. When did they tell you not to do it? In the same time or later? Yeah, so that's fine. Yeah, generally, when you see someone is not doing something right, you don't do it immediately unless it's a life and death situation.
Yes.
After the event is over, you can say you crossed this and you shouldn't do that because this is your post. And there's, yeah, so that's fine.
Yeah.
That's good. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Another point is my manager. He's like, when I go for anything, he's talks unlimitedly. Like he go once stepping off one topic to another topic in such a way that I cannot go.
Right. So I didn't say that if it's your manager, then you just have to listen.
No, the problem is scared to go to him because it goes the talk unlimitedly. So,
Yeah. So he's also smart. So he'll talk so that you don't come to him. Yeah.
Yeah, unlimitedly speaks. And and the other thing also I found another manager came lead. Then she also talks unlimited. Both they are like compatible now.
Compatible. Thank you.
Yeah. My question, Maharaj. So authority gave one service to some person, but I felt like he's not doing. But I went to authority and said he's not doing well. It would have been done better. But authority gave that service to him. So it is like how this person has to do now.
I think when you feel someone is not up to the standard that you have, then you outline, you write down and say why you see it that way. Right? Maybe the management feels this person is good enough, then you can outline and say these are the reasons why this person is not really the right person. The person has some capacity, but that ability could be better utilized in another service. You can outline that, and it's up to the management. Once you've done that, then don't worry about it. If the managers keep putting the same person, then you've done your duty.
The problem is my point unheard kind of thing comes, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, if ignores, no problem. If it is not ignoring, only the problem, because each time stepping onto the other person, oh, I am doing this way, so I'm doing better kind of thing. You got my point?
No.
What I mean to say, if I drop, it is fine. So I told to management said, okay, let him do, then it's fine. If I'm not leaving,
who's not leaving?
The person who is went and compliant to the management, that person is not leaving. When I say he's
still
not,
I don't understand.
He's not compromising.
It's lost in translation.
Still comply. So that point is there still.
He keeps coming with the complaint.
Who's complaining now? I thought you were complaining.
Yeah. Say suppose I am complaining on a person who is delivering services.
Okay.
I complain to authority, but authority is unheard.
Okay.
Or they heard but not fulfilled.
Okay.
Then this I'm still
complaining.
Not convinced. I'm not convinced right yet.
But my point is, once you complain, that's it. You don't go and keep complaining.
That's what. If I'm not dropping.
Why are you not dropping it?
That's what ego, right? That is what pride, right? Then
no, I think you need to understand the way it works is when even in your company you cannot keep going and complain to your boss. You lose your job after a while. You can complain and you see if they take action or not. If they don't take action, that's okay because they don't want to take action.
Yeah,
they have the right not to take action.
Yeah, but second time I will not go to management.
okay.
Anyhow, I will not go
That's all
because
right. That's
they
okay.
have not satisfied my.
First time.
Uh.
Yeah, that's okay. But you can only complain on a new thing, not the same thing,
Yeah.
right? But if you complain every time, they'll say, "Oh, this guy is always."
No, I will not complain. That's what I'm saying. I'm not going second time.
If it's a new complaint, it's okay.
No, not new complaint. On the first complaint only.
They didn't do anything, and you don't want to complain. Then you also have a problem.
Interfering the other person's service.
Yeah, but I think you also have a problem.
Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah, that is
so
a problem.
you also
I'm
need to
saying
go
that is a
and-
conflict.
No, not really. You may have a misunderstanding of how to bring complaints for resolution.
Yeah.
And how to and when to do that. So those things must be very clear. You know?
Yeah.
And I feel most companies will have courses, outlines, and so a culture where you can bring complaints and they will analyze through subcommittees and so on. But if they don't have such a culture, then you can only do what you can. And if there's a new problem, you should highlight because that's a good thing. And if they don't want to do anything, then after a series, maybe 2 or 3 times, you see they're not doing, then after that you don't need to complain. Yeah. But if one incident and you don't complain after that, doesn't make sense. Yeah. But if you find that you have made 3 different complaints and they didn't work on it, then you should look for a new job. Because it's not a good company anyway, because you're not taking care of things properly.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah. I mean, that's my opinion. You others may have different views in such things. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Nandra Pranam Jai Shri Prabhupada. On the topic of authority itself, if you can shed more light on authority in material world versus in a temple world, and I'll give you an example. Like in the example that you gave, that 10 people came running to clean up the mob. We also have situations where no one comes, and because the authority thinks it's not time yet.
Yeah, but what did I say? There must be
clear communication.
Yes. So if you have, you know, in any temple you run, you must have a job description of different departments and different services allocated, who you need and what. If everyone knows what your duty is, then there's no problem. If you fail to do, then I know who's the person to go. Yeah.
Isn't that, Maharaj, also sometimes you have to go, I mean, as you said, servant leadership, right? In an authority, you are a servant, as you said. So sometimes it's okay, like Satyarupa Prabhu's example, he was just trying to help take the trash. Maybe he could have told, hey, I took it because I saw nobody taking it, so I was just trying to help. Rather than, taking a, next time he won't go and help because he was reprimanded, right? So how do you balance
No, I think
that?
you misunderstand. His point is, after the whole event, he was told you shouldn't have done that because there's another person allocated to do that, and you are away from your station. So that's pretty clear cut. You know, there's no conflict there. So it's all clear. Once it's clear, you won't have problems. But if you have no understanding who's going to do, and that was his problem in the beginning because he thought no one's doing it. Yeah. But then he realized there is someone allocated. Yeah. They would come. Whether they are on time or not, that's a different matter. Yeah. Ideally, we want a perfect world, but the perfect world is not here. Right? It's out there. So you work to go back to God here. Yeah. But you do your best. Whatever you do, whatever services are allocated, you do your best, you know. Yeah. And then leave the rest to the temple management.
Just another follow-up, Maharaj, on communication. Oftentimes as devotees, we try not to communicate, or rather we try to communicate less when we see problem, because we think that we may hurt the other person, we may not know how to communicate.
Yeah. But I think, sorry to interrupt, but my point is, okay, go ahead. continue. I'll tell you what I want to say.
Please complete, Maharaj.
It's okay. Go ahead.
So then it becomes, as you said, it bubbles up, right? Because I decided not to communicate for a few weeks, months, and then it bubbles up. And then when you communicate, your communication is not effective because you're probably frustrated and angry. So how do you, because I've seen that with me and a lot of devotees, you try to shy from communication.
Yeah.
In the effort to not intentionally or unintentionally hurt a devotee.
Yes, yes.
That's a skill we develop unintentionally.
It's not a skill. It's not. It's a cultural problem. Most Indians don't want to say a negative thing about another thing. Therefore, you bring your culture into an environment where you need to say this is wrong or this is right. But you think if I say that, it'll hurt them and they'll hurt me and they will lose my friendship. Right? They'll say they'll go back to my village in India and then they'll have big fights, you know. The MacDuff and the MacDougals fighting. So it's a cultural thing. And I've seen that among Indian devotees, this is a problem. They don't want to say what is right or wrong. They say, no, I don't want to hurt the person, you know, like that. But you have to see overall picture, what is the value you're bringing, you know. You're not complaining per se, the person. The problem is in the action that is done, yeah. So what I'm trying to say is there should be a transformation in all participants in how they are acting when they come to like in an ISKCON temple, how to work together. So there must be a change in the way we think also. And that may take some time. But if all parties understand it's for the benefit of the whole, then you find that they can make the adjustment properly. But if they see individually thinking, oh, it's my family, my friend, he'll hurt, then you're never going to get anywhere. Yeah. It's a cultural thing. You need to overcome. Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Oh. Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for this wonderful class.
You have to speak louder.
No. Maharaj, most of your conflicts regarding like personal conflict or conflict of authority.
You have to speak. I'm an old man. I have hearing loss.
Most of your conflicts that you've talked about today regarding like authority or whether it be personality, as a teen, I don't know how I can relate to that, or at least how I can put it in my own world, because I guess most teens that I've known don't have the emotional intelligence to respond with at least active listening or like with communication, because we're still going through that process.
Yeah.
How do I deal with that in my sense, in my world at least?
Well, you're asking the question, which means you already understand some of these points that are raised. Yeah. Most teens would just say that's so boring, right? And say it doesn't help me, but you're thinking about it. So one way to do is to do some research on your own, right? And read more about what this conflict is all about. And then you see in your life situation, school situation, how among your peers, how each of you relate, right? And then you can see party A does this behavior, B, C, and so you identify, and then you can see how your behaviors actually help sometimes in creating conflicts, right? If, let's say all you girls say, tomorrow we wear pink and come to school, and then one of the girls wore yellow, and then that's a conflict, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
So then how to solve that kind of things, how to help each other to know that we want to work together is, if you have good relationship and you all trust each other, then you can sit and say, this is not cool what you did, and then they will say, yeah, I'm sorry, and then they will fix that. But if you don't have a good friendship, then to each his own usually, yeah. I'm not sure if I can really come down to the level of a teen at this moment, but pretty much I think it's in that way. You know, if you're thinking about it, means you can understand it. Yeah, it's whether you want to focus on it or not. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. I just have a
Go ahead.
follow-up question. So when it comes to like emotionally like understanding one another,
Closer.
when it comes to emotionally like understanding one another intelligently, does it mainly on like mindset? Because recently I had a conflict with a certain person day before yesterday, and it's just come into my perspective, or at least my view, like if I have done something wrong, and it was not just regarding me, it was regarding other two students, and I just didn't know how to see it. I don't know, should I look at it at a different point of view? Should I change my mindset? Because I know I wasn't in the wrong, but is there always a possibility I am in the wrong in the conflict?
Okay, generally when you go to in court cases, what is the rule? Innocent until found guilty, right? So more often than not, you ask even a murderer, you ask him, did you kill? They'll say, no. So when you're dealing with conflicts with your peers and so on, I'm sure just like you felt you were right, the other party may be feeling the same way, that you were wrong, or they may feel they were right, you know. In situations like this, there must be a line of communication. That means, can you communicate to that person without going through the emotional disturbances? Is that possible for you to, in cases like that, you need a third party who's a go for and ask and run around between the two, which is what mediators do. So basically what I'm saying is you need a person who can mediate your views with the other party and why they feel that way. And then maybe when you hear their side, then you may have a change of opinion. Right? For example, someone may have a very traumatic experience in a certain way in their life, and then you say something about that, and they feel hurt. But you say, I don't think I said anything bad. But they may be feeling hurt. Yeah? But you don't know the history behind it. So sometimes it's good to know more before you judge or analyze further. Yeah. Is that all right?
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So sometimes while doing service or planning a new service or trying to do a conflict resolution, we try to take things like professionally at the start, but we do already we work professionally at our work, right? But temple is kind of emotions for people, at least for a lot of us, I guess. Like, we don't think that, okay, I'll go there, and if there is any service, I'll try to hash things out professionally and whatnot. But if we do, sometimes what happens is the relationship kind of dries up, or the emotion kinds of go down. So what is the best balance between professionalism and trying to keep our emotions and the compassion between the team at the temple? Sorry about that. Like, what's the best balance between those things?
Again, if you have well-defined, you're listening? Yeah, if you have well-defined departments in your, like in the temple, and everyone knows what their role is very clearly, then the way they address or the way they discuss with you would be done in a proper way. For example, when we talk about conflict and conflict resolution, they must be trained properly. Not everyone, okay, you be the mediator. It doesn't work that way. People must be trained properly. And then they can address accordingly. And it takes time, developing their abilities, trying to be sensitive to the other parties, you know. trying to understand the emotion behind any conflict. All this are important. When you have all those things properly worked out and understood, then you find that the person you are helping will see it as a profession, a professional person helping me. They do not see you as an antagonistic person, nor will they see you as someone they dislike you because the mediation went against them. They wouldn't see that. But having said that, it's a common behavior with sensitive individuals. Yeah. But if you are on your own, if you are a very helpful person, and whenever you see them, you wish them well, you wish them for their birthday, you wish them for their wedding anniversary, or always nice to all individuals, then they will change their opinion towards you. Yeah. But if they hold grudges because you did your service, then they have the problem. It's not your problem. Yeah. This requires, as I mentioned in the earlier part, maturity. Unless you're mature enough, you cannot analyze things in the proper mood, nor will you be able to help others. An individual who's not at that level of maturity will see, for selfish reasons, for maybe political reasons, they may do all those activities in the wrong way, and we don't want that in our temple environment here. I hope that helps. Yeah. Who's
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for the wonderful lecture. I have a very quick question around conflict resolution.
So your question will be quick.
Yeah, bro. I hope so. Yeah. So I was trying to relate the topic to Ramayana, where Vali and Sugriva had a conflict, and Lord Rama was trying to resolve the conflict, but he was only on the one side of the place. Like I felt like he was working from only one side of the party for the mediation. Like the topic.
First of all, there was no mediation.
Yeah, there was no mediation.
Yes.
Yeah, so there was like no communication. So
Yes.
how do we kind of like relate these parts?
There's so many levels here because you are trying to relate Treta Yuga with Kali Yuga. That's one thing. And the other thing is rules that are applicable in Treta Yuga is not applicable in Kali Yuga. Okay? One of the Shastric injunction is when someone steals your wife, he should be killed. And there's no question of mediation in a Kshatriya setting. So therefore, what Ram did wasn't against the rule of the law, and when Bali was checked and told he was wrong, he argued and he said, "Well, I made mistake because I'm a monkey, And then Ram replied, "And you shouldn't have killed me from behind." Then Ram replied, "Because you're a monkey, I can shoot you from behind." Just to make Bali understand that you cannot choose or change your opinion according to situation. You cannot say I'm an animal at one time and I'm a human form of Kim Purusha at another time. Yeah. So there are rules you have to know when you read Shastras, Ramayana, Mahabharata, the warfare, Kshatriya Dharma, so different dharmas apply, although they may be minor effects, but they may have a potentially a greater impact in the whole understanding of the Shastra. Yeah, right? Just like Aswatthama he killed the 5 boys, they were all sleeping. That's against the ethics of code of warfare, but still he was spared. But Krishna cursed him and later on he gets a better position. But anyway, there's rules and so on, and rules and rules. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I think I got
Yes,
my answer while you were answering. Oh, someone had a question. Okay. So I have a follow-up question on what Satirupa Prabhu said. So I don't want to give the actual example, but I'm going to take the example Prabhu gave. So if trash picking was my service and I had just gone for a few minutes and he came and did it, should I take it offensively that
No,
no? Okay.
just thank the person and do your service. Yeah, don't take advantage of people, but at the same time, you should feel happy that there are other nice devotees around. Yeah,
But
right.
I shouldn't feel bad that
No,
he's
you should-
coming and doing my service when I'm being assigned.
Yeah, but if they keep taking your service all the time, then you can complain.
Does it mean like I'm not doing well? I have to correct myself.
Yeah, no, it doesn't mean like that. There's sometimes you may be doing something and you forgot. So if someone comes and cleans up, it's okay. You should be very happy for them, and you should also feel if I'm ever in trouble, these people are always there. Yeah, you always try to see what's positive. Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for the class and thank you for all the questions answered. It's very helpful. So my question is, sometimes we know what is wrong, what is right. We know what is how to behave, how to not to behave, what to do, what to not do. Like practical way, we all know like what is correct, what is wrong. But sometimes when the situation came, we forget everything and we just reply whatever come in my mind. We reply that only. We just forget who's elder, shorter, and everything we forget. But after 2 hours, 3 hours, we meditate on this and we said, oh, I have to not say like that. It's not good. We are not growing like that. We are, this is not, we are learning here on anything. What to do? Like what to do in that situation? Like, yeah, that
It's
is the
not
question.
so bad. All you need to do is first you need to chant nicely. When we are not able to control our mind, it's a symptom of our inability to actually chant properly. So japa must be done properly, and so when you chant nicely, then your mind is controlled properly. That's one thing. The second thing is, okay, you reacted in a way that later you realize it's wrong. So then you should pray to the Lord to give you intelligence that you do not react immediately, which we will go through tomorrow. One of the things is, before you speak, you think carefully. Maybe you should do one round of chanting first. So let me think. Generally, you shouldn't be willing to give answers because you may have a better answer if you think about it. Right? So you can say, let me just think about it first, I'll come back to you. Yeah, like that. So that may be a way for you, but you should pray to the Lord to give you the ability to not react spontaneously, except when it's pure love. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Anything else? The Tirtha.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So one point that really connected me today was that, when you are angry, the whole body gets contaminated. That really touched it. So going back to the politics in groups, the devotees are all even, they are well versed with the scriptures. Their goal is the one Krishna, and then the neutral person gets very bewildered because both of the parties are very, very well matured. So, especially the neophyte devotee, as not even have a much experience, not have knowledge, anything to understand, it puts them in very dilemma position. No one was taking an advantage or anything, trying to get any material gain, because both of them are in one goal, but the neutral persons are getting affected. In that situation, how do we handle it?
First, you must understand that although you said both parties are mature, maybe they are not self-realized.
I mean, appear matured the way how they interact.
Yeah,
right?
so they may be.
You can't see the difference like black and white.
Mature, old age or whatever, but doesn't mean they are self-realized. The other thing is mostly when we, which I mentioned yesterday also, when you come together, it's we bring our baggage with us. Then we think we know more because I've been in the movement for so long. I'm a senior devotee, blah, blah, blah. And therefore, we want to evoke or invoke our rights, our claim to be the most senior, so they should listen. Therefore, conflict comes in. When you say someone is mature, mature devotees don't fight. Immediately they'll say, I'm sorry, forgive me. They take a humble position. Right? The basics of our philosophy is centered around Prinadapi Sunichena, taking a humble position. So as soon as you take a humble position, where there's no conflict already, you can take that issue at a later time. You can bring it up to the management and say, such and such devotee, erupted, and I kept quiet, but I want to know what triggered such a reaction from them. So maybe we need to sit down and discuss this. That's a mature way of doing it. Yeah. The other thing is, if you are mature, you know that whatever you do, for every activity you do, so-called senior devotee, there are so many people looking at you, right? Because you're senior. So every new person who you have spoken to will be looking at you and seeing your reactions. So therefore, you have to become responsible for how you behave. So the onus is on you, and so if it's a conflict in public, then you should say, no, this is not good for the society. This is Prabhupada's society. I should be very careful what I say and how I react, That's maturity. Or you can tell the other party, forgive me, maybe I did something, or yes, I agree with you, or let's take it outside, and then you fight. No, that's not what I mean. Just take it outside and you discuss. Or go to the temple president's office and sit down and say what was the problem. Yeah. In all circumstances, when we have situations, you should never raise your voice. You shouldn't react physically. You should be willing to accept that you may have done something wrong. Yeah. And then you have some resolution. Definitely. Okay. All right. That's enough. Huh? Who? Oh, who's? What's her name? Triti. Kriti. Driti. Oh, intelligence.
Thank you, Marge, for such a wonderful class today. You talked about 3 conflicts: abusing power, a conflict arising through unclear lines of authority, and a personality conflict. Diving depth into more of the abusing of power, your quote that said, when you said making someone when we make someone else's power less, it's an illusion to make our power look more, which really resonated with me.
There's a conflict between you and Richa. It's okay. We never fight with babies. Yeah.
Which really resonated with me as I've seen it through the past few weeks. You've also delved depth into at least how conflict arises on unclear lines of authority, taking temple management into an account and using that as an example to explain your point. Then you talk about personality differences, delving more into generational differences as Gen Z and Gen X may be different in communication. But to resolve this, you said to do active listening. You just remain quiet, look at the other person's perspective, understand more how you can be in their shoes while also being in our own shoes, be open-minded, do not be judgmental. You also really talk about communication, very important in every single relationship we have, whether it be professional or personal. I think your points that you've really said in here really resonated with me these past week as I've been through a couple of things. And I think this seminar has really helped me a lot to realize many other perspectives. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for this wonderful class. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. That was a nice summary.
Great. It's great.